quite a lot.
It does, yeah. All right, well, we are with my colleague and friend Ken Bruce, and we're talking about Murray, his 17-year-old son, who's won an award. The only reason Murray's not here is because part of the issue for him, as you've been hearing, is that he is non-verbal. But as we hear from Ken, there's an awful lot going on in that young man's mind. Ashley maybe is in Southampton, and your 3-year-old son is called Jack. Ashley?
Yes, that's correct.
And are you recognising in what Ken says autism, and as many as 40% of them are what's described as non-verbal? Some think that people with autism who don't talk are not intelligent, but that's simply not the case.
Absolutely agree, Jeremy. Absolutely agree with you.
People are not aware of what those with learning disabilities and autism are actually capable of.
Absolutely agree with you there again, Jeremy. Well noted point. I agree with you there strongly.
17-year-old son Murray has autism, severe apraxia, and is non-verbal. Murray communicates using an iPad with a speech program and has been recognised for his work dispelling the myths around non-verbal autism. He's been honoured by Dimensions, an organisation which supports people who've got autism, on its learning disability and autism leaders list. Maybe you think, this is just like my child's story. Your child's diagnosed with non-verbal autism. And if you'd like to share your experience with myself and Ken, do call 08000 288 291, email vine@bbc.co.uk. Because Murray communicates through his iPad, he recorded this to give us some insight into his life.
Really try to see how people like me feel when they are treated as if they have no understanding.
Absolutely, Murray. I agree with you.
Find a person like me and try to have a normal conversation to see and listen to their capabilities.
Absolutely, Murray. We need people to listen to us. I agree with you, Murray. Absolutely right.
Plenty to say if people would only listen and value our hopes to live in a society which fit our ways.
Exactly, Murray.
So, the words of Murray Bruce, who has autism and is non-verbal, telling us through his computer how this affects him. And Ken, you must be very proud of him.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a struggle for him to have his voice heard, and it's
a struggle for all of us to have our voice heard, Ken, not just Murray. It's a struggle for all of us.
Supporting people who have learning difficulties, in some cases autism.
No, all of us who have autism have learning disabilities can be very careful.
Bang the drum a bit and say, look, you may look at people who have some kind of disability and think that they can only offer a certain amount, but actually they can offer an awful lot more.
I agree with you there, Ken. Well noted. I agree with you what you just said there, Ken. Absolutely right.
It's not about him. The good thing is that all these awards were done anonymously, judged anonymously, so nobody knew who had sent them in. So and that makes us even more proud that he was selected as being one of the leaders.
But difficult for you and Gareth as parents to get to this point.
Well, yes. I mean, Murray was diagnosed just under the age of 3 as having autism.
Unfortunately, I wasn't diagnosed till my mid-20s. I was diagnosed at 25. I'm now 31, so Murray was very lucky to get diagnosed earlier than I was. So he had quicker access to services, clearly.
He hasn't been able to develop
he was very lucky.
as yet. It's a combination of the autism and apraxia, which means in simple terms that the brain pathways, the pathways from the brain to the other parts of his body aren't always in the same form.
Yes, thank you for noting that, Ken. Absolutely right. Well noted point there. Our brain does process differently. And our fine motor skills are from. I have problems with my fine motor skills and my gross motor skills. So I do agree with that, Ken. Absolutely.
He's not able to do. I mean, he can operate a mouse on a keyboard and things like that. So it's very difficult for him to be able to communicate. And because he couldn't speak, and because
I'm lucky that I'm verbal and I'm able to speak as an autistic woman, but it is difficult for some autistic children and autistic adults. They speak either quicker or slower than others, so that is an issue. I do agree with parents, it can be difficult.
Sort of photographic memory. He taught himself to spell and to read, but he taught himself that simply by having a fairly photographic memory. And being able to access books, he could look at a page and just have it all in his mind already.
We do have a photographic memory. We do tend to store a lot of information in our heads. That is right what he's saying, yes.
I couldn't quite work out, so now I understand that you'd begun to realise who he was.
Yeah, and his school had not quite worked out what he could do. And it must be very frustrating. It's very frustrating for anybody in that position to think, I have lots to say, lots to think. I'm thinking deeply.
Yeah, we do have lots to say, and we do think more deeply than the neurotypical community. That is right. What Ken said is an absolute accurate point. And yeah, well done, Ken.
He's even more frustrated because he knows that he's capable of things, but can't actually communicate that. So, having found a way of communication, it's still difficult for him because the fine motor skill means he can't actually, with the apraxia, he can't really tap on the keyboard very readily. An iPad is easier, and laminated letterboard, we use that as a sort of QWERTY keyboard, laminated. He uses that and taps out, but it's hard work for him. So every paragraph that comes out of him is hard fought.
But he's written some poems, and you brought some, which show how deep his thinking is. I'll just read
this is good. I write poetry too. I'm very, very impressed with this. I do poetry too to help my emotions out as a way to express and get my emotions out in a safe outlet. So I'm glad that Murray has this outlet too. Very impressive.
I'm a person who wants to be in the presence of the sun, likening myself to the people who ever try to be better. The sun with its energy must rest, even if it has the power left to illuminate the world. I just want to have half of the sun's power, but it is not seen by people on my earth. I have to shine brighter. I liken my ability to the sun's rays. They bask in my yearning to be understood. Now and
I'm very confident in my abilities, and as again he's talking about our abilities, we can do more than what we think. So I do agree with Ken with that.
I mean, he writes better than I could, so it's
I think as we feel more emotion and more in depth in the neurotypical community, Ken, that's why he's able to express the way that he is. So
noticing that he is able to do this, and that is the whole point of the leaders list that Dimensions have put together, because their research has shown that 96% of people with learning disabilities and autism feel misunderstood by society, and 96%, and even higher, 99% think that people don't understand what they're capable of.
They don't. Society doesn't understand what we're capable of, Ken. They don't understand. They tend to judge us and put us into pre-selected boxes. They don't understand. That's completely accurate.
As a toddler, maybe even as a baby, could you see that he was different?
Well, it's very difficult. Yeah, from about the age of 18 months, which is
my mum recognised something that was wrong with me when I was like 3 years old, I think, maybe 4 years old, I think.
Because my wife went back to work, and it was at that point that we started to notice some differences. He had a little speech when he was a little younger than that, about 16, 17 months.
It's usually not picked up to around the 3 years old marks. That's the problem.
Disappeared.
And that happens with autism.
It does, and nobody knows why, but that's the stage at which these things become apparent. And by the age of 3, well, we knew that we were actually quite grateful for the diagnosis of autism, but we didn't know how it would turn out. It took until 9 before he had that way of getting through to us.
And the diagnosis period is very stressful as well, isn't it? Because it takes
ages. It can be, yes. It depends on if you have that support network, though, Jeremy.
For some people...
and Ken, it depends if you have a good support network around you during time of diagnosis. I was very lucky that I was able to have a good support network with me when I got my assessment and diagnosis done. It can be a tough time for family, absolutely. I agree with that. Family do suffer with the diagnosis, they do. I agree with that. It is hard for them.
In terms of physical activities, and I'm thinking of sport or whatever, is he able to do any of that?
Not organised sport, no. He's active.
It's because we're not able to do physical sport or sport in general, because we're not able to keep our coordination under control. We struggle with coordination as part of being on the spectrum, so that's another reason why we wouldn't be able to do it.
He loves his English language and poetry, and loves classical music.
I love pop music, I love my poetry, so it's something I have in common with your son.
Someone's calling us, and I think talk to them. If you want to stay, Ken, if you can, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And here the latest from Lenny Kravitz.
Mine on my right hand and walks us to the cupboard.
Yeah, communication is vital, though. The thing is, communication can be difficult, especially with a non-verbal autistic person. You have to have communication things in place, so PECs or Makaton or sign language enable successful communication. It's about having that successful communication in place with them, or having someone like a therapist or a close family member who understands them and able to better communicate with them. So it's about enabling that support and communication to happen naturally without forcing it.
And so that can be frustrating and annoying as well. So that can lead to some anxieties and some unhappiness.
Yeah, we all have general anxiety as
by
part of being on the
yes,
spectrum. We do have generalised anxiety, that is
Huge
accurate.
frustration, so that does take it out on them.
Sam Hammond is in... Oh, thanks, Ashley, by the way, for your call. Sam Hammond is in Cornwall, near Truro. Your son is 15, hello. Sam. Hi.
Yes, yeah, he's 16 in January, and sort of Ken's son just sort of ran round with me because he's non-verbal. He was diagnosed around the same age, and he's gone through the PECs with a fantastic speech and language therapist that saved mine and my husband's life when we were trying to come to terms with his diagnosis.
It is hard for the parents, I agree with that. It is hard for the parents to come to terms with the diagnosis. It does really affect the family, not just the individual who's get diagnosed, but it does affect the family too. I understand that and the struggle, I do understand it totally.
Peppa Pig, where would we be without Peppa Pig? Because he uses that to talk to us.
That's a great program. Peppa Pig is used as a speech aid for people with autism and other disabilities, not just autism, but that's great that your son can use that as an aid to communicate. It proves that programs like that do work. Sign language and cartoons can help them stimulate their senses to communicate.
Or we could be stuck in a traffic jam and he says, oh, we're stuck in a traffic jam. And he does that so many times to not just ask us for something, but to help him communicate and join in, which for him is frustrating that he can't communicate in the same way as everyone else.
Yeah, non-verbal people can't communicate with everyone else, I get that. Not being able to communicate is difficult. It shows the frustration and lack of communication and trust.
Everybody wants to communicate, and they'll find a way, and that's a terrific way of doing it, you know, but they'll find a way which suits them to make their feelings known.
You can't force it on them, I find. I think they've tried so hard to get him to sign, to get him to do PECs, but he wants to do it his way. It's sort of his bit of independence. I'll find my way to talk to you. Right. And he does it so well. It's amazing.
Good, Sam.
It's about enabling successful communication, that's why.
Blossom in Devon says, wow, how incredible. That was so...